Subscribe to our channel and drop your comments below. Tell us what you think about these military traditions. Have you come across stories like this? We want to hear from you. Why you should never wrap a tourniquet around a rifle stock. A deep dive into history, myths, and lessons. If you've ever scrolled through photos of soldiers, whether it's Soviet paratroopers in Afghanistan or fighters from more recent conflicts, you probably noticed something odd: a medical tourniquet wrapped around the stock of a rifle. It's a striking image: a tough soldier, rifle at the ready, with a tourniquet dangling from the stock like some kind of battlefield fashion statement. But have you ever wondered why they do it? And more importantly, why it's a terrible idea? Let's dive into this quirky tradition, unpack its origins, explore the psychology behind it, and break down why it's a practice that needs to stay in the past. This isn't just a story about tourniquets and rifles. It's a tale of habits, mistakes, and lessons that could save lives. Buckle up for a wild ride through military history, with a sprinkle of economics and a call to think smarter. The origins: Afghanistan's harsh realities. Where it all began. The story of wrapping tourniquets around rifle stocks traces back to the Soviet Union's military campaign in Afghanistan, which ran from 1979 to 1989. This was a time when Soviet forces, including their elite airborne troops, were deployed to the rugged mountains and deserts of Afghanistan. Among their gear were new Kalashnikov rifles, specifically the AKS-74, which came with a folding metal stock. These rifles were lightweight and perfect for paratroopers, but the metal stock had a downside. It conducted heat like nobody's business. In the scorching Afghan summers, the stock could burn your cheek when you aimed. In the freezing mountain winters, it turned into an ice-cold slab that could practically stick to your skin. So, some clever soldiers came up with a fix: wrap the stock with something to insulate it. Enter the S-Mark tourniquet, a rubbery medical tool every soldier carried. Some even stuffed an individual first aid kit, think bandages and gauze, inside the hollow frame of the stock and secured it with the tourniquet. Old photos from the war show this setup in action. Tourniquets neatly coiled around metal stocks, sometimes holding a first aid kit in place. Why'd it make sense? Let's put ourselves in those soldiers' boots. The AKS-74's metal stock wasn't just a temperature nightmare. It was also narrow and uncomfortable. Compared to the solid wooden or plastic stocks on other rifles, like the standard AK-74, the folding stock didn't sit well against the shoulder or cheek when aiming. Soldiers started wrapping tourniquets around it to add some bulk, creating a makeshift cheek rest for better stability during shooting. Another reason? Convenience. In the chaos of combat, having medical supplies right on your rifle seemed like a stroke of genius. Your rifle is always with you, so why not keep your tourniquet and first aid kit there too? It sounded practical, at least on paper. But as we'll see, this idea had some serious flaws. The problems: why it's a bad idea. Tourniquets don't like the outdoors. Picture this: you've wrapped a tourniquet around your rifle stock, thinking it's safe and sound. But that tourniquet is now exposed to the elements: blazing sun, freezing cold, rain, dust, you name it. Rubber tourniquets, like the S-Mark, aren't built for that kind of abuse. Ultraviolet rays from the sun break down the material. Extreme heat and cold make it brittle. Moisture creeps in, weakening it further. After weeks or months of this, you go to use the tourniquet in an emergency, and snap, it tears apart. Or worse, it crumbles in your hands like a stale cracker. In a combat situation, where stopping a bleeding wound can mean the difference between life and death, a broken tourniquet is a disaster. According to the American College of Surgeons, severe bleeding can kill in as little as 3 to 5 minutes if not controlled. A tourniquet that's been baking on your rifle stock for months isn't going to save anyone. It's more likely to cost a life. Losing your rifle means losing your tourniquet. Here's another issue: your rifle isn't a guaranteed safe spot for medical gear. In the heat of battle, you might drop your weapon, leave it behind if you're wounded, or hand it off to a buddy. If your tourniquet and first aid kit are strapped to the stock, they're gone too. Imagine being injured, reaching for your tourniquet and realizing it's lost with your rifle. That's not just inconvenient. It's a death sentence in a bleeding emergency. The illusion of dual purpose. Some soldiers genuinely believed they could have it both ways. Use the tourniquet as insulation for the stock and keep it functional for medical emergencies. That's a dangerous myth. If you're wrapping a tourniquet tightly around a stock, you're stretching it, exposing it to wear, and basically saying goodbye to its ability to stop bleeding. Worse, if your squad mates don't know the tourniquet is ruined, they might grab it in a crisis, wasting precious seconds trying to make it work. It's a gamble nobody should take. The cargo cult. Why this habit persists. From Afghanistan to today. Here's the wild part. This tourniquet on the stock trend didn't die with the Soviet withdrawal from Afghanistan in 1989. It popped up in later conflicts. Chechnya in the 1990s, Georgia in 2008, and even Ukraine's Donbass region in 2014. Fast forward to 2025, and you can still find soldiers doing it. Why? 2 words, cargo cult. If you're not familiar with the term, a cargo cult is when people mimic the surface-level behaviors of others without understanding the purpose. During World War II, Pacific Islanders saw American soldiers build airstrips, and planes would land with supplies like food and medicine. After the war, some islanders built fake airstrips out of straw and wood, hoping planes would magically return. Sound absurd, right? But wrapping a tourniquet around a rifle stock today is eerily similar. Modern soldiers see old photos of grizzled Afghan war veterans with tourniquets on their rifles and think, that's badass. I'll do it too. But they're missing the context. Those Soviet paratroopers were dealing with metal stocks in extreme climates. Today, many rifles, like the AK-74M, have plastic stocks that don't get scorching hot or freezing cold. The climate in places like Ukraine or the Middle East isn't always as brutal as Afghanistan's deserts or mountains. Yet the habit persists, not because it's practical, but because it looks cool. It's become a symbol, a way to feel like a battle-hardened warrior, even if it makes no sense. The psychology of copying. Why do people latch onto these outdated habits? It's all about psychology. In the military, especially among new recruits, there's a strong urge to fit in. Copying what the cool or experienced soldiers do, whether wearing a certain patch or wrapping a tourniquet on your rifle, makes you feel like part of the team. It's like wearing a team jersey or getting a tattoo to show you belong. Then there's the stress factor. Combat is chaotic, and rituals give soldiers a sense of control. Wrapping a tourniquet around a stock is a simple act, a little routine that feels grounding. It's like a lucky charm. Except this charm could fail you when you need it most. The economic angle, the cost of mistakes, the price of a tourniquet. Let's talk dollars and cents. A basic medical tourniquet, like the CAT, Combat Application Tourniquet, widely used in the U.S. military, costs around $25 to $35 retail in 2025. That's not much in the grand scheme of things. But imagine a unit of 100 soldiers, each wrapping a tourniquet around their rifle stock. That's $2,500 to $3,500 worth of tourniquets that'll be ruined in a few months. Scale that up to a battalion of 1,000 soldiers, and you're looking at $25,000 to $35,000 down the drain. And that's just for one round of replacements. But the real cost isn't the money, it's the lives at stake. The U.S. Department of Defense has reported that uncontrolled bleeding is the leading cause of preventable death on the battlefield. A single failed tourniquet could mean one more soldier doesn't make it home. How do you put a price on that? The logistics nightmare. Now think about the supply chain. Military logistics is a massive operation, moving gear, food, and medical supplies to troops in the field. Tourniquets are part of that supply chain, and they're not just handed out like candy. They have to be manufactured, shipped, and distributed, often to remote or dangerous areas. If soldiers are ruining tourniquets by wrapping them around rifle stocks, it creates extra demand. More orders, more shipments, more strain on an already complex system. In a war zone, where supply lines can be disrupted by enemy fire or bad roads. Every wasted tourniquet is a logistical headache. Let's zoom out further. According to the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, SIPRI, global military spending in 2024 hit $2.4 trillion. The U.S. alone accounted for over $900 billion of that. Every little waste, like ruined tourniquets, adds up, chipping away at budgets that could be spent on better training, equipment, or medical care. Lessons learned: smarter choices for survival. Think before you act. The biggest takeaway here? There are no small details in war. Every piece of gear, every habit, every choice needs a reason. If you're wrapping a tourniquet around your rifle stock because that's what the tough guys do, you're not thinking, you're following. And following blindly can get you or your buddies killed. Medical gear, especially tourniquets, needs to be treated with respect. Store them properly, keep them accessible, and make sure they're ready to save a life. Your rifle is for fighting, not for stashing medical supplies. Want to honor the soldiers who came before you? Do it by being smarter, not by copying their mistakes. How to store tourniquets right. Here's a quick guide to keeping your tourniquets in fighting shape. Keep them protected. Store tourniquets in a sealed pouch or bag to shield them from sun, rain, and dirt. A Ziploc bag works in a pinch. Check them regularly. Every few months, inspect your tourniquet. Give it a gentle tug to ensure it's still strong and flexible. Don't skimp. Tourniquets are cheap compared to the cost of losing a life. If one looks worn, replace it, no questions asked. Carry smart. Keep your tourniquet on your vest, belt, or in a dedicated med pouch. It'll be just as accessible as on your rifle, but it won't get ruined. Ditch the cargo cult. It's time to let go of outdated traditions. Those Soviet paratroopers in Afghanistan were doing their best with what they had. But we're in 2025 now. We have better gear, better knowledge, and no excuse for repeating old mistakes. Being a great soldier isn't about looking cool. It's about being prepared, professional, and ready to save lives. The story of tourniquets wrapped around rifle stocks is more than a quirky military habit. It's a lesson in critical thinking. Habits and traditions can be powerful, but they can also lead us astray. In war, where every second counts, there's no room for cargo cults or unthinking rituals. Let's learn from the past, not live in it. Check your gear, test your tourniquets, and train like your life depends on it, because it does. Forget the Instagram-worthy rifle mods and focus on what works. Your squad mates are counting on you. Subscribe to our channel for more deep dives and practical tips. Share your thoughts in the comments. Have you seen this tourniquet trend in action? What other military myths should we bust? Your feedback keeps us going.